The Arcturian Group. Via Marilyn Rafaelle. Greetings as we begin the new year of 2024, which is going to be a year of exposures and events that will help awaken many who continue to place their trust in beliefs that are now becoming obsolete. No person can remain hypnotized by illusions of separation forever, because the reality of every person is God. Source. Divine consciousness individualized. There are some, especially those addicted to power over, that continue with words and actions to keep the world addicted to the old belief system, because if a majority remains bound to the unenlightened rules, ideas, leaders, laws, religiosity, and traditions of duality, separation, and a belief in two powers, they continue to profit in some way. It is difficult to move beyond the teachings and beliefs that have served a person well as guidelines throughout their life. However, there comes a time in everyone's evolutionary journey when they must let go of many beliefs that remain familiar and comfortable but no longer resonate, in order to integrate the higher levels of awareness. This process is usually not consciously chosen, but rather is brought about by the higher self when the person is ready. When everything a person has been taught, believed, and built their foundation on begins to no longer resonate in the same way, it usually precipitates a period of fear, confusion, doubt, resistance, and even the belief that the person is losing their mind, because everything they have wholeheartedly believed up to this point seems to have been a lie. This period constitutes a dark night of the soul, especially for those who have been serious seekers for a long time and believed had found all the answers. It will last as long as the person resists, tries to re-energize the past, or refuses to look deeper within. It can be a particularly traumatic time for those who hold to strict religious, metaphysical, or even pagan beliefs. At some point the experience becomes a time of seeking, researching, studying world religions, pondering, questioning, and healing, during which new awarenesses begin to take root even while some of the old remains. Know that you are always guided and being led through this phase of your journey by your higher self, because you are ready for it, but most do not initiate it on their own. God is not an old man sitting on a cloud passing judgment on every person's qualifications to receive good or punishment according to how well they have followed some man-made rule. God is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient consciousness, and because everyone is an expression of this one and only consciousness, everything that it is already fully present within every individual. You are not a part of God, you are the wholeness. It is not only foolish but fruitless to pray to some concept of God made in man's image to give you things, events, people, etc. God is already expressing its fullness in and as every person, and has no awareness of anything other than itself, because nothing other than itself exists. If disease, lack, suffering, etc. were facets of divine consciousness, they could never be healed, changed, or eliminated, because they would be held forever in place by divine law. Spiritual evolution is the journey of realizing this and allowing self-completeness to manifest. God does not give things, people, jobs, goods, because God consciousness does not have ideas of lack and limitation. God is infinitely expressing itself through man and all its expressions. Once a person attains a consciousness of oneness and completeness, mind can then interpret the contents of this state of consciousness on levels the person can understand. For example, a person needs a home. If they have attained a state of consciousness that knows they can never be separate from their real home, which is divine consciousness, mind will then interpret this outwardly as the right home. The enlightened consciousness of a mechanic will not manifest outwardly as new ideas for surgery, nor will the surgeon manifest ideas for fixing a carburetor unless that is what he needs. This is why it is necessary to let go of the many familiar but now obsolete religious or metaphysical teachings encouraging you to pray this way or that in order to obtain what you believe you, or others, need. These practices served well in earlier times of evolution but were only steps along the way, not meant to be held on to forever. These practices actually promote and empower beliefs of separation. The time has come to put away the tools of a previous and less evolved state of consciousness and move into the awareness of what it really means to be one with God. It is futile to pray for peace, because God knows nothing other than the peace of one omnipresent self having no opposites. Instead of praying to God for peace, realize that because every person is divine consciousness individualized, the energy flowing and connecting all life, love, remains fully present even when not recognized, because it is the reality. Do not deny appearances, but rather cease giving them power by acknowledging the reality underlying all appearances. War is an activity of the collective belief in separation which must be experienced by some in order for them to learn and evolve beyond beliefs of separation. Many continue to live with one foot in both worlds long past the time they are ready to have both feet in the world of truth. This can be difficult, scary, and even result in rejection by family and friends, but you came to Earth to fully awaken, clear remaining old energies, help others do the same, and by doing this assist with Earth's ascension process. The issues you are witnessing on Earth at this time are facets of this process, because everything old and false must surface, play out, and be recognized in order to be let go of and moved beyond. Never proselyte or attempt to press your awareness on others in the belief that you are helping them, but rather simply be an example of peace and non-judgment. Trust that those ready for what you have to give will find their way to you, because like energy attracts like energy. A spiritually evolved person is an empowered person who does not allow others to dominate or control them, in the belief that they are being patient and loving when they do this. Never allow a person or group to misuse or dominate you. It is an insult to your divinity. A spiritually empowered person is never afraid to lovingly say, "Thank you for your opinion, but I am going to do this." Some remain in abusive or even dangerous situations simply because they want to please, reflecting low resonating attempts to be loved. Others have been taught that it is spiritual to be loving and patient regardless of all negative circumstances. It is not spiritual to allow some person or group to manipulate you physically, emotionally, mentally, or even spiritually. However, it is very important to be very honest with yourself in these types of situations, not interpreting another's desire for dialogue or change as an easy excuse to run away or avoid dealing with something. It is often the case, and particularly during these times of intense clearing, that the painful situations a person may be dealing with in this lifetime are actually old energies that were experienced and have been carried through many previous lifetimes. When a person feels strong and evolved enough to finally acknowledge and clear intensely painful and low-resonating energies they still carry, horrific experiences like torture to death or one or lifetimes of abuse, they will often choose to incarnate into a family or situation that will reactivate this old energy. Because now they are spiritually empowered and emotionally prepared, they are able to re-experience the energy in some form, recognize it for what it represents, and fully release it from consciousness. Always in these types of situations, do what needs to be said or done, while inwardly knowing the true spiritual nature of all involved. That way you do not create negative energy that will need to be cleared. Like it or not, enjoy it or not, desire it or not, believe it or not, there is a divine plan unfolding and you are a part of it. We are the Arcturian group.